Devin AI calls itself the world's first fully autonomous software engineer. Bold, right? Fans call it a productivity leap. Critics call it hype. I spent over a week putting Devin through real developer chores to see who's right. Full disclosure, this video is sponsored by Cognition Labs, but they have no control over my opinions. You get my results, good and bad. In this video, you'll watch Devin tackle 25 real tasks, bug fixes, new features, documentation, and you'll see every stumble that cost me time and credits. Stick around for the honest verdict and find out who should use Devin and who should skip Devin entirely. To see whether Devin really stands a chance, I tested it from two angles: project complexity and task variety. For this test, I picked two projects. First, my fork of the buzzworthy Gemini CLI. Great tool, mountains of open issues. Second, a pair of personal apps, Game Night Tracker and Workout Tracker, both needed migrations and fresh features. Then I threw a mix of work at Devin. Quick bug fixes, full-blown feature builds, and even documentation runs. Some tasks just worked on the first try without me lifting a finger. Others crashed so hard I wondered if AI was even ready for this stuff. And that contrast is exactly what you'll see today. So Devin opens right in the browser, and in each session, you get a VS Code editor, a terminal, and a live preview browser pane. When you first sign up, the main quirk I noticed is that it asks for GitHub access before it shows any pricing. I'd rather see the cost first. After that, setup is easy. I spun up a Devin machine, picked a repo, add the commands to pull code and install dependencies, drop in your secrets, and Devin spins up its own containerized dev box. I also connected the integrations I needed, including the Slack API key. I started simple and asked Devin to fix a typo in the Gemini CLI grep tool. It jumped into planning mode, built a to-do list, and lit up a green confidence light that said it felt sure of itself. In just over 5 minutes, Devin patched the code, tested, ran them, opened a pull request, and dropped the link in chat. The PR came with a clear diagram that highlighted the files it touched, and a quick check showed the typo was gone. Next, I pushed harder. I asked Devin to debug a context token bug and open a linear ticket with its findings. It investigated the code just fine but didn't create the ticket. When I asked what happened, Devin just shrugged and said, "Can't do it," without telling me why. After a quick look, I realized I had missed adding the linear API key during setup. A simple missing key hint would save the detective work. On the plus side, once I fixed the key and asked Devin to refresh session, it stored that information in its knowledge entries for future sessions. Because Devin supports parallel sessions, things got more interesting here. I gave it 2 tasks at once: fix the context token bug and build a feature so users can set their preferred editor. Devin handled both sessions in parallel and switched to its interactive planning mode, which is helpful because I can follow along with its every move. It tapped its knowledge entries along the way and generated a detailed plan, promising stuff. Both sessions ended with pull requests. The context token fix took about 7.5 minutes, and the editor env task finished in roughly 8. I wanted to skim a quick diff inside the Devin session. Unfortunately, the See Details button never opened for me. Even so, the PR summaries were clear and came with those handy diagrams. The Slack integration worked fine, and I got the completion ping too. Since I was already in Slack, I figured I'd give Devin a nudge, so I tagged it to review this PR. The first tag was ignored, the second worked, and Devin spun up a new space to handle the review. So far, so good. Next, I asked it to write tests for the editor feature. It ran 680 tests and reported 29 new cases covering 287 lines, a respectable chunk of coverage for one prompt. But here's the real question. Did any of this actually work? I ran the Gemini CLI locally. Neither the context token fix nor the new editor option actually worked. Passing tests still need your eyeballs. Most projects involve juggling more than one repo, so I brought in my game night tracker and workout tracker apps. First challenge was to upgrade the workout app to Node 24. This is where Devin actually impressed me. It didn't just change the version number and call it a day. It understood the dependencies, checked for breaking changes, and ran the app in the browser, poked around, and sent screenshots to prove it still worked. About 7 minutes from planning to green tests. That's pretty much what a diligent teammate would do. Next up was building a login screen for the game tracker. I used this AskDevin to research the best way to integrate Google and Apple sign-in. I even dropped in a UI mockup. Devin came back with file-level change plans, security notes, and a complexity estimate. Loved the depth. Hated that the image mockup I uploaded shows up as a file name only. Beta life. To turn this research into code, I tagged Devin in the linear ticket. It launched a new space, started digging, and while that churned, I fired off another task to open a matching GitHub issue. Devin handled the GitHub tasks simultaneously. Once it had the issue details ready, it asked for my OK, then spun up a separate session. And there, I saw the issue appear. Back in the linear ticket, Devin returned with a proposed solution for the sign-in screen, a few clarifying questions, and its confidence score for the work. For this first iteration, I approved Devin's plan. In a new session, it wrote the front end, wired the back end, live tested desktop and mobile in the embedded browser, then opened a pull request. Time for the truth test. I asked for a local deploy. Devin tunneled the build to my browser, but disabled host checking. Fine for local development, risky for prod. The UI looked functional, though my Gemini CLI experience had already shown Devin can't yet build a full feature end-to-end, so I stopped short of asking it to finish the entire OAuth flow. When I appreciated the help, guess what? Devin returned the praise with 2.4 ACUs as an ego boost reward. Who says flattery gets you nowhere? With the login flow wrapped up and an unexpected 2.4 ACUs back in the bank, I wanted to see whether Devin could save me time outside the code editor. That's where its built-in documentation hub comes in. DevinWiki is surprisingly thorough. Auto-generated architecture diagrams, ERDs, CI/CD notes, and answers follow-up questions about the code base. I tried its deep research mode. Instead of revealing its thought process, it mostly just listed step-by-step instructions. One advantage is that the wiki is free on an MCP server, so I can feed it straight into tools like Claude or Cursor. Queries to DevinWiki include a link back to Devin's search results, and here, I can dig further with its deep research mode. Devin did well on some tasks and struggled on others. So here are the rough edges to keep in mind. If a secret is missing, say the linear API key, it just says it can't continue. No error details. You have to poke it for clues. Back-end heavy fixes rarely stick on the first try. Be clear with your prompt and always retest before merging. When two members share one session, Devin overwrites the pull request description with only the latest commit. Change the default author setting or your history gets messy. All org secrets are visible to every member, which breaks least privilege rules and raises real leak risk on larger teams. So the big question, is Devin worth the spend? First, let's see what it actually costs. Devin bills in ACUs, basically credits. The entry point is the core pack, a one-time bundle of 9 ACUs for $20. After that, you're on pay-as-you-go at $2.25 per ACU with a minimum top-up of 10 ACUs. Teams can switch to a subscription, $500 a month for 250 ACUs and even $2 per credit. There's also an enterprise tier with custom pricing and centralized management. Price alone doesn't tell the story, so I measured how those credits translate into time and output. I let Devin tackle 25 tasks: debugging, new features, migrations, tests, and documentation. The total burn was 22 ACUs. Small fixes took about 5 minutes. Bigger tasks like migrations took roughly 13 minutes, including all the planning, coding, tests, browser checks, Slack and linear updates, and the pull request. On the long runs, that's roughly 40 cents per autonomous minute on the heavy tasks, while quick 5-minute fixes work out closer to 70 cents per minute. It's the classic bulk deal. The more minutes you buy, the cheaper each one becomes. So who's Devin really for, and who should pass? Devin isn't going to architect your next flagship feature, and it still needs supervision. Think of it as a junior developer who follows checklists and never forgets to post status updates. It's strongest in team settings with lots of process, backlogs, tickets, Slack threads. As it supports parallel sessions, you can queue several tasks at once and keep work moving. Add Devin's playbooks for repeat jobs like version bumps or incident drills, and it starts to feel like an extra pair of steady hands. You can even write custom playbooks to fit your own workflow. For solo builders, Devin is less compelling. I wouldn't trust it to create a whole app for me. I still reach for tools like Claude Code for that. But I will hand it my smaller to-dos. And I'll keep using DevinWiki and AskDevin for detailed docs and tailored searches on my codebase. Now here's something interesting. Devin's team has this Coding Agents 101 guide that's been making rounds in the developer community. And it's actually pretty honest about what you should expect when using coding agents. First admission. Treat the agent like a junior developer whose decision-making is unreliable. Their words, not mine. They recommend defensive prompting, basically assuming it'll screw up and planning accordingly. They also say you need to be super specific about how you want things done, not just what. So instead of add unit tests, specify exact functionality, edge cases, mocking requirements. Do half the thinking yourself. Most telling, they have a whole section on cutting your losses earlier when agents go off track. Meaning, it fails often enough that they had to teach people when to give up. But their realistic recommendation is actually useful. Aim for 80% time savings on repetitive tasks like dependency upgrades and adding tests, not complete automation. If you expect Devin to replace a developer, you'll be disappointed. But for handling boring work so you focus on interesting problems, that's actually achievable. Here's the bottom line. Devin works as a helpful teammate for routine workflows, but it won't replace real engineering judgment anytime soon. It can chew through chores and backlog items on its own, yet it still needs an engineer in the driver's seat for serious work. Try the free DevinWiki MCP server first. If you like the feel, pool $20 with a friend, share one org, and see if Devin fits your flow. If this breakdown saved you a few ACUs or a few headaches, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Which workflow would you hand to Devin first? Bug fixes, docs, or migrations? Tell me below. And if there's an AI tool or workflow you'd like me to test next, drop it in the comments. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.